for expanding perception and thereby perspective on what's taking place in our world right now. The more we can expand perception and see it in a wider context, the more it, makes sense in the big picture. And there's not that need, to take it all so personal. Because perception and perspective, they can both be trained. And there's lots of information about that in the Pali Canon. Perspective is actually the second of the 7 factors of awakening. And perception is one of the 5 khandhas, the 5 aggregates. So they are both very important concepts which the Buddha has, singled out for access roads, to free our minds from conditioning. So that we really can live up to our true name, which is human, which literally means earthling, or made of earth, or earthly, as opposed to the gods, they don't have these dense bodies, they have fine material or non-material bodies, according to the Buddha's understanding. But we have these coarse bodies, made of the elements, which we can touch and smell and so on. And we belong to a rich and robust lineage. Otherwise we wouldn't be here. As simple as that. Because our ancestors have already figured it out, how to be here. And today I have just looked up a few numbers to give us a sense of depth of time, where we are coming from. For example, the earliest sign of genus Homo, where we belong to that genus, is from 2.8 million years ago. So this is, what we have in our behind us, 2.8 million years of evolution of the genus Homo we belong to. And the earliest bipedal findings were even 7 million years ago. So that's really it blows the mind. And then, for example, the earliest stone tools go even beyond genus Homo. They come from 3.4 million years ago. Earliest language from 2.1 million years ago. Earliest cooking and using of fire, 2.3 million years ago. It's incredible numbers, which we can't really understand on an intellectual level, but on an intuitive level, it gives a sense of vastness and continuity. And gives me a sense of that our ancestors have already figured it out, how to be here and how to develop and change and evolve. And we can learn to sense into that potential of this amazing lineage we are part of. It's a sense of familiarity we can tap into if we allow it to, really touch us, and allowing the, the thinking mind, the intellectual mind, allowing that to scramble and not really be able to make much with it. But there's some other kind of a mind, the chitta, the heart, which can connect with that. This deep ancestral inheritance, and that can be really energizing. And it might be helpful, maybe if you like, to look up some images on the net or whatever, and see that depths of connection. Where the evolutionary timeline, it was very, very slow for hundreds of thousands of years, not much changed. And now it's all speeding up, speeding up, speeding up, because our current culture is so obsessed with progress. And because of that, completely forgotten where we come from and how we got here. This constant striving to go there and never really being here kind of long enough to understand what the challenges are, the real challenges. What we need to kind of integrate in order, for the development, the evolutionary development which is asked of us. It's not about making more machines and producing more stuff, you know that already, but it's about developing a different way of being here. Expanding perception is the basic tool, how that can happen. Because perception, is working through the mind and is always impacted, by the conditioning. So, 5 people looking at the same piece of art, and some think it's the best ever, some think it's good enough, and some think it's terrible. So that's how perception works. Perception is conditioned. And that's why we need to train ourselves to perceive in a way which is in touch with the fact, that we are part of a living, intelligent earth. Because otherwise, whatever we come up with is not really up to the job to get over this threshold. And for that, we really need to hear what the earth wants of us as expressions of her, as secretions of her, or whatever I want to call it, as earthlings. Because we have forgotten that and become really numb. And we have developed this whole industry of producing consumer goods and entertainment and all of the stuff to get us really forget. And in America, North America, it has been perfected to the, really crazy amount of distraction. And now we have, come up with AI, and that's even, that's like distraction on steroids. In a way, if it's not reined in and used in service of life, rather than trying to get away from it. So, and if we can connect back, to this lineage that gives us a portal into understanding that we are not impotent and powerless. We are not empty-handed. We are part of this very powerful lineage of genus Homo and of Homo sapiens as a species, and also we have the Buddhist lineage behind us. Those two lineages together is incredibly rich and robust. So we are not empty-handed. But as we are, kind of tumbling in the mess of what's unfolding, our wounds are triggered, of course. And then those feelings come up, those thoughts come up. And I think that's why we meet here, to be reminded that that's not all what is there, and to also be reminded that the gift and the medicine we bring is right next to our wound. We need to look exactly at the wound, because that is where we are most sensitive, and that's where the medicine lies we are bringing. The ancient Greeks said, in your wound is your genius. And what's really interesting, in the German language, an old word for wound is blessure, and in French, blessure, and has the same root as the word blessing. So the wound is like an opening, through which the blessing can enter. Because the wound that we carry informs us about how we want to be in the world, how we can be in the world. This longing, for these qualities, which can also throw us, on a bad day, throw us into feelings of helplessness and hopelessness. And the grief, and the tenderness, and if we can go there and be with those very twisted, stories and places in ourselves and hold them with compassion, they can reveal the medicine and what we are really deeply in touch with because of that sensitivity. And I definitely have, experienced that in over the 66 years, I'm here and practicing. I'm still, working on manifesting or working on with the same qualities. Still, my heart feels an uplift and leaps up. The same qualities as when I was young, when I was like 14, when I was a teenager, or even younger. It's a, it's a process. So to go to those qualities and take it in, Even it's maybe painful, but it's very informative because it connects us more with ourselves. And I've brought a poem again today, and it's called Dear Human by Courtney Walsh. Somebody gave that to me at one of the retreats I recently taught. Dear human, you've got it all wrong. You didn't come here to master unconditional love. That's where you came from and where you will return. You came here to learn personal love, universal love, messy love, sweaty love, crazy love, broken love, whole love. infused with divinity, lived through the grace of stumbling, demonstrated through the beauty of messing up often. You didn't come here to be perfect. You already are. You came here to be gorgeously human, flawed and fabulous, and then to rise again into remembering. But unconditional love, stop telling that story. Love in truth doesn't need any other adjectives. It doesn't require modifiers. It doesn't require the condition of perfection. It only asks that you show up and do your best, that you stay present and feel fully, that you shine and fly and laugh and cry and hurt and heal and fall and get back up and play and work and live and die as you. It's enough. It's plenty. Settling, in the body. And just being with what is there. And with the out breath, sensing the place where the body meets the surface on which you're sitting right now, which is held by the earth, by the ground, the soil, where your house, your apartment is on top of. And I'm feeling that being held. And with the out breath, gently allowing some roots to go down into the soil. Without any pressure. And with the in-breath, breathing up the stability and the richness of the earth. And the soil, the humus. Which consists of many, many beings which have lived and then died and composted into the ground, which became the layer of humus, the soil on this planet. Plants and animals and humans and minerals. The network of the mycelium and the root networks. It's a very rich landscape down there. Even we can't see it. But we know it's there because it provides us with food, water, oxygen through the trees. Its capacity is incredible. It literally builds our bodies. And then when they die, they go back in and dissolve back in. And gonna be the material for another body to emerge for some time. And that's in a way how we can expand perception, by taking in that which is happening, all the time, but we are distracted. And now we voluntarily train our perception so we can counteract that distraction. And through that, we are more capable of seeing what's really happening, rather than being distracted with surface appearances, which are also important and quite dangerous at this time. But we need to have it grounded in something bigger, otherwise we're gonna completely lose agency. Or get really caught up in action without any wisdom or compassion. So it's like counteracting, the knee-jerk reaction to just do something or say something because we don't want to really sense and feel that and then really trusting, that as a species, we have this long lineage of ancestors behind us, not only human. The first apes, emerged about 10 million years ago. There's obviously an intelligence at work, and we need to reconnect with that. Remember that. And at the same time, of course, there's lots of things to attend to. One needs to be grounded in that much deeper intelligence. It's like a turning towards from a place of grounding. Like, for example, in a bus, when you have the handholds in a bus, whenever the bus is going around the bend or there's some bump in the road or a quick speeding up or something destabilizing, we hold on, we grab the handle, and then we can stand straight up, even through the challenge. And that's the same, I think, with this deep time perspective. Whenever the going gets really bumpy, we need to hold on to that, like a handle, so we don't get completely thrown. And stay in the messiness, but with a deeper sense of grounding. And sometimes there's something we can do and sometimes not. So a sense of devotion and reverence for that vastness. Through expanding perception and activating these imaginal capacities we all have, helping us to step out of the limiting cultural conditioning, which mainly about shopping and so on. As the only way to be safe is to have money on the bank account and buy more stuff. This is so one-sided, and not compatible with the limitations of the biosphere. It is not. It's obvious. There must be a different way. And obviously, the challenges for our forebears, like a million years ago or 2 million years ago, they had no shopping malls and so on, and they still made it with very, very basic equipment. So there's like just a need for us to prioritize more realistically. When the going gets tough, we need to prioritize. And trusting, that we are definitely not empty-handed. We have this human lineage, we have the Buddhist lineage, and we have our particular skills and medicines which we are bringing. And it's our wound which shows us where the blessing lies, where our particular medicine lies. And to remember that. And by contemplating that in yourself, probably takes you back to childhood. I can see quite clearly, my wounding. I grew up in a hotel, very busy place, and me and my brother, we were left alone a lot. So there was always that the wound is the abandonment wound in my case. And I had to find skillful ways, to remember that I'm not alone. Even my parents weren't there. And that interested me very early on, cultural anthropology, and where do I come from, and how family life is conducted in other cultures, and was conducted when we still lived in caves. All of those things always interested me very much when I was, maybe 4, 5, 6 years old. And I think that's what took me to cultural anthropology, and then it was kind of not really deep enough, and then took me to this wisdom teaching of Buddhism. And then, once this sense of lineage is really felt, then there is more capacity to understand also the shortcomings and the challenges and the blessings, and how it all is a incredibly rich tapestry. And it's not all about me. And what I want. It's about life. And about lineage, continuity. And can I serve that? Can I be in service of that? It doesn't mean I have to, no have no input. Of course we do have input. And today I'd like to share with you a chant, and I'm just gonna read the English translation of that chant, and it's called the recollection of the foremost Arahant Bhikkhunis, which are the nuns, which have lived at the time of the Buddha, and they were contemporaries of the Buddha, and the Buddha has praised them for their outstanding qualities. And they are even, in the canon, we can find them in the Anguttara Nikaya, the numbered discourses. So I'm going to just read that to you and allow, the blessings of the Arahant Bhikkhunis to rain down upon you. Because we can really use a blessing. Recollection of the foremost Arahant Bhikkhunis. Among Bhikkhunis of long standing is Gautami, maternal aunt of the Buddha, attained to the supreme state. May the power of her qualities always be a blessing to us. As foremost in great wisdom, Khema Theri is renowned, disciple of the excellent Buddha. May the power of her qualities always be a blessing to us. Upalavanna Theri is the highest of those with psychic powers, disciple of the excellent Buddha. May the power of her qualities always be a blessing to us. As the foremost among Vinaya experts, Patachara is famous, attained to the supreme state. May the power of her qualities always be a blessing to us. As the most excellent of Dhamma teachers, Dhammadinna is named, attained to the supreme state. May the power of her qualities always be a blessing to us. Among nuns who cultivate meditation, Nanda Theri is named. Established in the supreme state, may the power of her qualities always be a blessing to us. As the foremost of energetic ones, Sona Theri is named. Established in that state, may the power of her qualities always be a blessing to us. As the foremost of those with the divine eye, Sakula is famous. With seeing well purified, may the power of her qualities always be a blessing to us. Kuntalakesi Bhikkhuni is the most excellent of those with quick intuition. Established in this very state, may the power of her qualities always be a blessing to us. Bada Kapilani is the foremost of those remembering previous birth. May the power of her qualities always be a blessing to us. Bada Kachana Theri is the greatest of those with higher knowledges. Having conquered pleasure and pain, may the power of her qualities always be a blessing to us. Kisa Gotami is the foremost of those wearing coarse robes, attained to the supreme state. May the power of her qualities always be a blessing to us. Sikala Mata Bhikkhuni is the highest of those resolved on faith. May the power of her qualities always bestow great peace, health, and happiness on us. May these and all the other qualities of the Bhikkhunis dispel all fear, sorrow, and illness. Those who are stream enterers and all others in training, endowed with faith, wisdom, and virtue, with impurities partially burned away, may the power of their qualities always be a blessing to us. So, breathing in that sense of lineage as a Homo sapiens with these earth bodies, and also as a practitioner of this wisdom teaching, which comes to us from Iron Age India. And the Buddha has, built his teaching upon the already existing teaching of that time. He has reinterpreted some of the concepts, like the concept of karma, for example. He's reinterpreted it and brought also in something completely new, like concept of not self, emptiness. He has also built upon what came before him and added something new. And that's also, what we are supposed to do. to add something new, but from a place of grounding. Not from a place of aversion and wanting to get away. Because that doesn't work. Whatever is not grounded cannot live. It will dry up and just burn up, evaporate. It's not relevant. If it's not connected, it's not relevant. And unfortunately, that's what seems to be going on in many countries around the world, that unwillingness to acknowledge that. And wanting to get somewhere else, where there is less mess, but it's not really sustainable. So we need all the blessings we can count and the support we can lean into to not get brainwashed or to free ourselves from the brainwashing we already received. Because it's really important now. And we have all the time in the world on one level, and on the other level it's really urgent at the same time. As you know, a Thai teacher I met in the very beginning of my path, he always said, hurry slowly. Hurry slowly. That's what we need to find the way. How do we do that? How do we hurry slowly? So in 1-2 minutes we're going to I'm gonna ring the bell. So coming back to the body, weight of the body on the cushion on the chair.